Horns up.
Stand and deliver. Pay attention.
News from across the NFL and the Minnesota Vikings in association with VikeFans.com. With your hosts.
Like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
The Lockstar Al Hiram.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid? Why?
And Jason the Beast Barham.
They think he's a righteous dude.
That was awesome. Oh boy, is this great!
And welcome to another episode of Horns Up. Week 1 in the NFL is in the books, and we are here live to bring you all the news from it, as well as your preview of Week 2 here in VikeFans Studio. This is the Lockstar Al Hiram, and of course, my associate Jason the Beast Barham. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man.
Great, man. It's good to be back, man. We made it to Week 2 of our podcast. But Week 1 of the NFL, Week 2 for us. This is amazing that we actually lasted more than a week.
I tell you what, Week 1 was going so good watching all these damn games until the last one of the week.
Oh, jeez. That's like, you know, when you
what
type
I felt like after the game because I had to be that drunk. I couldn't take it anymore.
Exactly, pretty much, or that, or if you're giving a speech about the game in front of a daycare and you can't actually say any of the things that's on your mind, so you speak in symbols like comic books, you know. Exclamation point.
I got you, man.
Yeah, oh my God. But yeah, we'll get to that in a bit here. This whole Week 1, there was not a lot of shocks. There was a few, and we'll get to those in our cruiser on the NFL. Big news on the sidelines of the NFL. I guess you'd call this our sideline segment. Blow a whistle. Weep. Yeah. I don't have a whistle sound effect, so they're going to have to deal with that. I'm sorry, fans. You have to deal with a weep. That's your whistle.
Flag.
It was actually related to the Vikings game, that beat down in the parking lot. That video went, I wouldn't call it viral. It went viral in Minnesota, which is about, 1/100th of 1% of the internet. So basically about 80 people cared, but it still sucked. I mean, it just showed how classless people can be, really. I mean, I've been to a lot of sporting events. I've seen a lot of drunk people, and they talk a lot of drunk shit. But really, 5 guys jumping a dude when he's turning around after he says his piece. All right, you know what? I get it, right? You got to defend your honor, blah, 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 blah. But seriously, really, whatever happened to sticks and stones, man? I guess that's my thing. Whatever happened to just, okay, drunk guys talking, let him walk away. Is that just a Minnesota thing now, or is that been forgotten everywhere?
Like Ron Burgundy would have said.
You stay classy, San Diego.
Yeah.
Stay classy, San Francisco.
There you go. It must have been the pleats in the pants that incited them to riot or something. I don't know. Maybe he was wearing Sex Panther. Because 60% of the time it works all the time. Yeah, there you go.
Team sucks!
Oh, yeah. But it's been quite a Week 1 in the NFL. Pardon me while I take a drink.
Cheers to that.
Kraken and Coke here. You got the beers. What kind of beers you drinking?
Miller Lite. The official beer of the Minnesota Vikings.
I think they're official beer of about 16 NFL teams.
Well, I heard a story now. I don't know if it's true or if it's just a rumor. Budweiser's trying to buy out Miller. Is this true? Because if that's true, I'm going to have to find another beer.
Well, no, because, the guys who own Budweiser and the guys who own Miller are two of the biggest beverage companies in the world. And they're not...
Drunks?
Anheuser-Busch is owned by InBev, if I'm not mistaken. And I can't remember who the Miller Coors guys are owned by. But really, there's 3 companies in the world that make all your beer. So everybody who says Canadians who come down and say, oh, American beer shucks. Well, your Labatt's is made in the exact same factory in the same tank as Budweiser. Basically, it's Budweiser with a different label because they're both InBev, right? It's the same all around. There's very little variation in the macro brews that everybody drinks and argues over. So, go figure. We can all agree light beer sucks pretty much. Although I will admit, after the Thor's Hammer podcast, check them out on vikefans.com as well. But after their podcast, I did go out and I looked at Miller Lite, and then they had if you save enough proof of purchases, it's like Camel Bucks for drunks. You can get like a Vikings hoodie. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy this case this time and see how many proofs I get out of it. And then so I'm 9 cases away from a hoodie if I drink it down fast enough. So,
oh man, I just threw away like 3 cases in the recycling bin.
Did you look inside for the proof of purchase? See?
Oh.
Right. And here I've been giving GV hell. I've been giving him
behind the game, man.
Yeah, I've been giving.
I don't know what's going on.
GV probably has like a whole closet full of hoodies for Miller Lite alone. So yeah, that guy. He's another one of the Vike fans out there listening with us.
Soon we're gonna need all these hoodies here.
Apparently, yeah, winter is coming. Yes.
I didn't feel like it today. It felt great, but
I know, right? Oh my God.
Enjoy it while it's here. It ain't gonna be here for long.
We don't got much longer before we're House Stark again.
I figure by about week 4, week 5 of the NFL season here, that's when it starts dipping down. Reality starts setting in.
And then all thoughts of tailgating outside TCF are gone with it.
The only thing that makes me happy at that point is if my team, the Minnesota Vikings, actually are kicking ass and actually in the playoff hunt, which in the last few years has not been a case. So
not really.
I've been pretty ordinary every year.
Well, all
Scrooge bah humbug.
And speaking of which, there's so much potential there, and it's never been fulfilled. But let's hold off on that because there's a lot to be said about that, and we do got to get to our news, which means it's time for our high-speed cruise around the NFL. Starting it off Thursday, the Steelers and Pats kicked off the season displaying Gronk's fantasy value to owners across the world. Tom Brady completed 4 touchdown passes to Gronk himself, making Brady himself a steal in plenty of drafts where he went later than normal. The final score being Patriots 28, Steelers 21. I drafted Brady in 2 leagues because he was so cheap.
I got screwed by Gronk in 3 leagues. Gronk.
I got Brady in round 4 and 5 in 2 different leagues, man. It was great.
I got Gronked.
You got Gronked. Gronk. The Bills led a surprise stampede over the Colts by a score of 27-14, calling into question pretty much the entire meaning of the universe. Is Tyrod Taylor that good? Is the Colts defense that bad? Time will tell when we start building our apocalypse shelters.
Colts defense is that bad.
If you're Tyrod Taylor, man,
No, Colts D is bad, but I give credit to Tyrod Taylor.
Well, there's bad, and it's just a time will tell which one was worse, I guess. The Lions turn out in mid-season form, meaning that they choked against the Chargers, giving up an 11-point lead in the second half and dropping the game by a score of 33-28. Other scores around the league include the Packers beating the Bears 31-23, the Chiefs over the Texans 27-20, the Jets over the Browns 31-10. The Dolphins did in the Redskins by a score of 17-10. The Panthers just dominated the Jaguars by a score of 20-9. The Seahawks lost to the Rams by a score of 34-31. That was another little surprise there, but we'll get to that again too. The Cardinals trumped the Saints, score of 31-19. The Titans dominated the Buccaneers 42-14. The Bengals as well pretty well dominated the Raiders by a score of 33-13. The Ravens lost to the Broncos by a score of 19-13, and the Cowboys put one over on the Giants by a score of 27-26, as well as on Monday night, the Falcons narrowly defeating the Eagles 26-24. And finally, the point we've been dreading, the 49ers really, I mean, if it was off the field, this would be a criminal act. Just the score doesn't reflect how bad it was. Dominated the Vikings 20-3.
Could have been way worse.
20-3, yes. Well, if there was a way for the Vikings to score negative points, perhaps. but I'm not sure how much worse it could be.
We'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later. But first, let's look at a few of those highlighted games there. Steelers and Pats. I saw a total lack of defense on either team. That was the most outstanding thing I saw.
I'm going to tell you one thing here. A lot of people were calling it already before that game. They were saying, look for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and the Patriots to bring it in 2015. Pretty pissed off at Mr. Goodell, and they want everything they want to be Super Bowl champions again.
Well,
I tell you what, after looking like that, they got motivation for this season. That is definitely true.
We're pissed off at Goodell, too, but we managed 3 points out of it. That sounded like a stab wound. That was.
I know Brady. Brady obviously does not have a lot of years left in him.
No, he does not.
So when you get up there in age, it's hard to find that drive to do another drive in a year.
Right now,
Brady's got that drive in him already because he's already got a fight against the NFL, so he wants to play even harder.
Do you think he's?
I give so much credit to Brady, man. That guy's got so much fire. Yelling at his offensive linemen, wide receivers, even his defensive linemen. You can't knock the guy, man. The guy's a good player. That's why the whole deflate gate crap that was coming out.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, maybe the guy had the ball at 9 pounds. It's supposed to be 10. I mean, they make it sound like the guy had like a 5-pound ball out there. I mean, there ain't no way. The guy with a little under-deflated ball isn't going to help you read defenses. It ain't going to make you get that good arc on the throw.
Those balls
That's just perfect. Damn good, man. Just quit knocking on the guy and quit hating.
Well, he wears Uggs. Look,
and he doesn't dance too well if you remember him in the zillion days down there.
There you go. Yeah, just poke.
Come on, dude, quit that, man.
Surface from his jockstrap and look over the rim, and you'll see he's got Uggs on his feet, and then you'll realize this is why everybody hates him.
Well, I guess if people wanted to give me money like that to be in the commercials, I guess I wouldn't turn it down either.
True. If you paid me $1 million a year, I'd be in Uggs while a gorilla had me in a ball gag. I would. So. Hell.
That would be tough. I don't know what I tell my mom and dad, but
I'm getting
here's a house. Just don't worry about it.
Don't search the net for gorilla ball gag Uggs.
No, don't do
it. But yeah, that to me, that whole game was the highlight of just bad defense all around. Because hey, the big part that gets overlooked in that was Roethlisberger. He had 3 TDs on his own. I mean, and it was a closer game than it looked when you were watching it on TV because Pittsburgh was within striking distance there. That was
the kicker was doing a lot of Walshes.
Yeah, Scobie, he just came in. I think he was, did
he miss that first 2 field goals? I think he did.
I'm not sure. I can't remember, to be honest. I'd have to look it up, and that would delay us. So yeah, he might have. I don't know, but turned out that that the game was a lot closer than anybody thought. I think a lot of that's the announcers too.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
Yeah. The Bills and the Colts was another big surprise. That was a shocker. I mean,
I didn't really get much time to watch that game. But you just know our Rex Ryan team. Plus, he inherited one hell of a defensive already.
Right.
Tyrod Taylor and McCoy.
Tyrod Taylor was a shocker.
Look at Percy Harvin out there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Percy playing possum. Yeah. We've seen that before.
Yeah. That old diving end zone touchdown catch. There it was again.
You bet. The big surprise there was Tyrod Taylor for me. I started him as my starting QB on my fail league team. And I regretted that instance immediately.
No, I tell you what, that was one hell of a pass that he made to Percy Harvin in that end zone.
It was. That guy might be, I'm not sure if he's going to be a flash in the pan. I'm not sure if he's going to be.
It's week 1.
It's week 1. It's tough to tell, but yeah, that was a shocker. Thankfully, my fail league second surprise was a mistake as well. Yeah. I made a mistake, and I left Johnny Manziel as my flex player. So I had 2 quarterbacks. So I thought, oh, God, I'm going to get decimated. But Johnny Manziel ended up being awesome for me because he's a turnover factory. So, and he actually played. So that was okay there.
Jameis Winston would have been the money play, I think, of the week in that league.
Dude, I tell you what, yeah. that was not, yeah. Well, Mariota turned in amazing stats. He looked like the second coming of quarterbackhood there.
Well, it was great with Wisenhunt. He actually utilized some of the plays that he played in Oregon.
Right. Okay.
I've
yeah.
seen a lot of them same plays that he's kind of mixing it up. You know, he's trying to teach him the NFL offense, but yet he knows what plays he's good at in college. So
right.
He kind of used that too. So it was great. Like he said, you know, it's an honor to be a player of the week, which he was awarded.
Right.
4 touchdowns in the first half, I believe he had.
Yep.
That's pretty damn sweet.
That was, yeah. Yeah, but there was a striking difference, you could say, between that and their national championship game.
Oh, yeah.
Which was really the height of, like, why am I watching this? Oh, because the media says it's important.
That game started out damn good, that championship game, and then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, this sucks.
It was on, I don't know what was going on when it was on, but I know that for some reason I wasn't paying a lot of attention. So I don't watch a lot of college ball anyways. And, you know, pardon me for not being hardcore enough, but yeah.
I'll make it hardcore here.
Oh, okay. All right. You keep me on track. Sounds good.
Right. Coming up this year, college season, playoffs, you're going to watch.
Okay. All right. Our third highlighted game this week was the Lions and the Chargers. The Lions, like they were playing December itself, got the lead up and then choked it away, leaving, I think, was it San Diego went on a 23-point run against them?
God damn. Oh, man. Oh. One good thing out of that, I've had Stevie Johnson in one of my leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And then Keenan Allen. I went high on him last year. I avoided him this year. I already got burned. Week 1. 15 catches, really?
Right. And
God damn.
So what I heard there too was Megatron only had 4 targets and 2 receptions, and Amir Abdullah had 69 yards, something like that. Yeah, and that guy
didn't have that many carries. It was that one play. I think he 40 some yard touchdown run.
Yeah, he was averaging 7 yards a carry, but it was like just such a small number of carries. It's like, wow, you have a weapon like that. Why aren't you riding that to the bank?
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that offensive line. I'm actually kind of jealous of the Detroit Lions offensive line compared to ours. But
dude, I'm jealous of like the 6th grade at Madison Elementary's line at this point. That's, oh my God. Yeah, so speaking of the Vikes, let's break it down. Week 1, I know we don't want to, but we have to. Let's break it down. Week 1, the Vikings go with a field goal against 20 against the 49ers. Oh my God. It's hard to even say the score. The Niners won 20-3, which doesn't sound like 50. It's not 41 donut. But watching that game, we got dominated in just about every facet. I can't think of one area where we did worse than the Niners.
That is the truth.
Except special teams. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Special teams, I think we did overall better.
Defensive special teams. That's it. Not offensive special teams.
Well, the Niners also had that wickedly bad fumble that we recovered. You know, our defensive special teams were better than their offensive special teams. I think that's about the only place we did better. And it gave us hope, and it was a false hope, and lulled us into and then just crushed us.
It was a waste of hope.
A waste of hope. Oh, it was just, oh my God.
It wasn't a waste of beer because I had a really good home for it that night.
I tell you what, man, I finished off that rest of that case of Miller Lite. Watching the queen herself, she looked over at me the whole time like, my God, is this really that bad? And I'm like, yes, this is that bad. And she's a Skins fan. I tells you something. Looking at the stats here, there's not a lot of bright points. We allowed 230 rushing yards.
I guarantee you, Zimmer is so effing pissed because that's his number one philosophy. Mm-hmm. He even made that an emphasis about when he became coach.
Right.
First thing you got to do is stop the run. If you can't stop the run, you ain't going to stop nobody. We're going to play hard-nosed football, smart, physical football. Did you see that on Monday night?
No.
Did not see that.
I think the Vikings poster Zaneri summed it up best. He expected to see the defensive line on the street corners with a sign that says "Will not defend for food," or "Will not protect." Well, that was the offensive line. "Will not protect for food." The defensive line, yeah, that was like a white picket fence, man. It was just both lines, and we're not singling out people here, but both lines were pretty awful. I mean, Griffin couldn't do contain, and Roberson being on the left side could not catch up. And then Floyd and Linval in the middle on the defensive end. Floyd and Linval in the middle. There was no push. You expect two guys that big and that powerful to generate a surge up the middle. That's what we got them for. That's why we drafted one and brought in the other, was that middle surge, that big block in the center, to keep everything contained. And it just was nothing. And then the linebackers, wholly over pursuit, man. I haven't seen that many broken ankles. Just trying to catch back up to the play after they over pursued. It's like, oh my! And Greenway is not the fastest guy on the planet, but when Greenway's over pursuing, something has gone seriously wrong here.
Well, I have some notes here, and I'd like to read them here.
Please go right ahead.
And it's a lot about Greenway. Okay. All right. Well, anyways, first thing I want to say I'm sorry I jinxed all the Viking fans out there in my article I wrote last week. My final score was 31-17.
All right.
I was off by just a little bit.
Like all of us. Yes, I was way off too.
Well, I had the homer in me, and I knew the one thing that Zimmer wanted to stop was the run. And I knew the one thing that Sanford wanted to do was run the ball.
Right.
But I had faith more in our team than I had faith in their team. And that's one thing that I talked about in my write-up was the matchup of the week was going to be between Staley and Boone and Everson Griffin and Sharif Floyd. Okay. And I said, whoever wins this matchup makes a big churn in the outcome of this game. Oh. And it was pretty clear once they found out that if they ran to the left side, they were going to win every time. And they pounded it, and they just put them into submission all night. Even the first drive of the game, it went something like this. We had a left side run right away, Greenway out of position. Second play, missed tackle, Everson Griffin, Xavier Rhodes. Greenway was blocked out of the play by a tight end. Third play was a pass to Torrey Smith by Xavier Rhodes. And that was another thing I said, that Xavier Rhodes would probably cover Torrey Smith quite a bit in this game.
Right.
Which he did. And actually, Torrey Smith didn't really have too much of an impact in the game. So I give our secondary actually did pretty good. It was the front seven that did not do worth a damn.
I agree. Totally. Our secondary was not that bad. They weren't good, but they weren't that bad.
Eighth play, Kaepernick rolls out. He throws a little lob right over Greenway to tight end Selleck for, I think, 15 yards. I mean, at this point, that offense was playing fast, had the defense gassed out already. They had a lot of 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets. They were playing power smash mouth football.
They were playing the game we were supposed to come in with.
I mean, we got to the 10th play of the drive. Ball got snapped, and I'm not even joking. It was almost a second later. Griffin started off the snap. I was like, what's going on, man?
I noticed that. His head was not in the game. He missed that snap count by almost a full second. It was like the tackle.
Then he looped around him.
Right.
And then he could have had a chance at him. And then when he looped around him, he had a chance to run, and he didn't look like himself at all.
Now, I commented on that in the Vike fans chat room. I said, what was impressive was he was almost a second late off the snap, but he still managed to collapse the pocket. So just sheer athleticism. So the potential's there. It's just, where's your head at?
Kaepernick ended up doing a little scramble on that one, and if it wasn't for Barr, that play would actually went for at least 10 to 15 yards.
Right.
Barr played pretty decent for coming off an injury like he has, and he didn't play a lot in the preseason.
Right.
He's finally starting to get in football shape, starting to look like himself, which is promising on one linebacker on this team.
Right. Well, I want to ask you about that now. I noticed that at least through the preseason, I know we had the extra preseason game this year, but did it seem to you like we might have pulled our starters in the preseason a little bit early and not let the rust get knocked off them a little bit?
Well, I think the load halt injuries scared off a little bit there.
Right. But
plus, we already had an extra preseason game.
Right. But something like an Achilles on an offensive lineman, I mean, that's going to happen.
You know what? This is off topic here.
Sure.
But now that you said that, how bad do you got to feel for Terrell Suggs?
Well, yeah. It feels pretty odd. And that's a terrible thing to have happen to you. It really is.
Come back from one, you do it again. I mean,
well, that's what happened.
I know the guy's going to try and come back.
Right. But that's what happened with Loadholt, too. It happened with the same thing, man. He came back from the pec injury with our suspicious amount of pec injuries we have in our offensive line. And then his Achilles blew. And it's just like sometimes, like an Achilles, you can't, there's no exercise I know of that you sit there and work your Achilles. You can't make it stronger. Just you plant wrong one day and the thing just blows out and you're done. It's just one of those freak injuries. And, preseason or regular season, it would have happened apparently because that plant was coming. I don't know. It's just something you can't predict. But I think just a few more plays just to, get them in there and knock the rust off, especially AD. AD ran for what?
I think that's what they should have done. They should have played him a little bit. I mean, he obviously looked rusty. He looked hesitant. He looked like he was trying to do the salsa dance out there at sometimes, dancing too much.
Right.
Should have just. And another thing that gets me going was the play calls with AP.
Right.
Why are you running AP out of the shotgun?
That was ridiculous.
Get him going full speed. Get him ready to hit somebody. Because when he's coming out of that shotgun, he's coming out. He's trying to dance to find a hole.
Right.
No, F that. Get him running straight, full bore, straight ahead. Get him going. Now, McKinnon, now that's something different because he's smaller and he's a little more shifty.
Yeah, he's more of a scat back. Yep. He's not a bruiser back. Like
I'm just not Peterson. A fan of these shotgun runs with AP, especially in week one, knowing that he is rusty and it's pretty apparent. I think that was a bit of Norv being a bit too clever for his own good. That was Norv outguessing himself. Like saying, okay, San Francisco's going to expect us to line up in I formation, so we're going to run 3 runs out of the shotgun. No, that's not going to work. That's not going to work because other coaches are as smart. That's just the way the game goes, man. They're all pros. They're gonna be on the same level as you thought wise, and they're going to cover that. And then, of course, you have AP not used to running out of the shotgun. What has he done, like twice in his career before this? I have no idea. It was a ridiculously small amount. He's a power runner. And when he runs to hurt someone, Especially he's at an older age now.
Right.
Even maybe this year, next year, you might get pretty much a full AP.
Right.
If he's going to play when he's 33, 34, he's going to have to be strictly a power runner.
Right. Yep.
So,
or
definitely not a guy you want coming out of the shotgun there.
Yeah, AD's always been more the Peyton-style runner than the Sanders-style runner. He's always been more north and south with a cut or two. Might make one guy miss, but the other guys he's just going to punish his way through. And where he's never going to be the I can dance sideline to sideline sideways like a Barry Sanders. This is not his thing. He's a power runner. Yeah, you're right. And he's got a cut or two in every run, and that's about where he's done. The rest is all just him being physically like a little Hulk in shoulder pads. So I mean, that's just how it goes. You can't, in running him out of the shotgun, you're not letting him get any kind of head of steam. And then with that offensive line, that offensive line was generating literally holes you could drive a Hot Wheel through. I mean, there was no holes there. He would have to dive between if he probably had a better chance of finding an open hole diving between Fusco's legs than the lane that Fusco was trying to make. I mean, it was just bad. It was bad.
Bring up a couple points about Kaepernick too. I talked to little bit about this last week because now they got a new offensive coordinator there, new coach, coaching Kaepernick out there.
Right.
I said, if I was, I'm kind of thinking like my Madden guy, what would I kind of call for him out there? I told him I'd be doing a lot of bootlegs. I'd like for him to be doing bootlegs on the outside there.
Yep.
Use his athleticism, get to the edge, throw tight ends, or even go deep. I was actually surprised to see a lot of them plays were being called. I don't know if you noticed that, but he was definitely doing a lot of bootleg plays.
Yep. Yep.
And he also did a bootleg play to the left and decided to run it. Barr tripped his feet, and you know what happened after that. Here comes the boom, 22.
Yeah, that was a great hit.
God, that was the shit right there.
It was.
I jumped up, and I was going, yeah!
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was.
How many people were like saying, kill him?
Well, because you don't see hits like that. You're not allowed to hit quarterbacks like that most of the time anymore, but that was one of those rare instances when it was
I tell you,
game.
week one, man, I seen some of the best legal hits. I mean, hard. I mean, these guys are finally getting to know what they can't go for the head. They're just going right for the mid-chest.
Right.
Solid hits.
Right.
And, I mean, it was good football, and it was nice to see a player most of the time get up. I mean, no flags were thrown.
Right. Yeah, they get up, they go back to their huddle, they're like, yeah, awesome hit. And that's how it should be, man. Just, smacking people down.
Because now we do really know more about the game and the head injuries. I mean, that sucks, especially for a player that means so much for your team, and you get like a big cheap shot kind of hit like that.
Yeah. Totally.
And I mean, he's hit out, knocked out, and then 2-3 weeks later, he gets it again. Man, his career is in jeopardy already. I mean, for a big playmaker, key player on your team, you just can't have that. NFL can't have that ratings. For them.
Yep, exactly. You need the hits. The hits are what people watch for, man. It's a violent sport.
That was a hell of a hit, though, man. That had to have been the top hit of the week.
In my opinion, it was. That's the best one I saw, anyway. Yeah, at least on Sports Center. So, hey, there you go. Or Red Zone.
I couldn't believe that guy got back up.
Kaepernick's a big dude and he's tough. So, gotta give credit where it's due. Man, he got up from that and he didn't let it phase him. He came back.
He got up and he got back to the line. I go, oh shit! Now he's fired up, man.
Or just woke up. Yeah, sometimes, man, you need a good smack to wake up.
Yeah, man. Sometimes it's like, no, I'm ready to go.
Right? Yeah, it gets the adrenaline going. Yeah, man. So who knows?
But safeties for San Fran played pretty damn good too. Like
they did.
Was saying, I liking a lot of their safeties they got. I wasn't too high in their corners, but their safeties did make some impact plays for them.
They did. And that brings to my high points for the Vikings. I had 3 high points that I saw in the Viking squad this week. Despite how bad everything seemed to suck. Someone pointed out to me, Teddy, at the end of the game, despite his horrible beginning, still ended with a 71% completion ratio. So he's, his accuracy problems at the beginning of the game, he resolved them and he got back to it. Yeah.
That's a hell of a stat.
Yeah, he came back. He had 71% completion ratio at the end of the game, despite that awful first half. Wallace was his number 1 receiver. That's another nice stat because we all wondered, is Wallace and Teddy going to be on the same page?
Right.
And the third bright point I had was Khalil did not suck. He actually played a solid game. I can't remember a play where he whiffed so bad that I was like, oh my God, why is he still here?
I seen one.
Yeah.
And actually Fusco whiffed it really bad too.
I saw Fusco whiff.
You know what play that was?
Which one?
That was the play where early in the game where Teddy scrambled out and he threw like a 15-yard pass to Mike Wallace.
Okay.
But they both whiffed it really bad. Otherwise, I watched a lot and I watched it back. Khalil actually looked pretty damn good. Fusco had a struggle of the game.
He did. Fusco struggled a bit. I think the big
TJ Clemens too. I mean,
Clemens had that one play that was a mistake, but that that
game or that play,
that was a mistake.
Shit happens, man.
Yeah, that was a shit happens play. I think the biggest negative on the O-line was Berger. I think Berger was just. He did not compliment Fusco. They didn't compliment each other well, and it just
it's Sullivan.
Yeah, we missing
Sullivan's.
Yeah, because Sullivan knew where exactly to be. That's why your center's, like you said last week, your center's got to be the smartest guy in the offense, man. He's got to know his stuff. And that was, Berger got thrown into the role, and that's what we get. We get mistakes like that. Fusco's like doing the assist to the outside. Berger's not shifting to the inside or shifting to the left to pick it up. And those A gaps are going to haunt us until he learns.
And then all of a sudden we got a surprise in the starting lineup right away with Sendejo getting the start. What's going on here now? I didn't even see him get to start in a preseason game, and all of a sudden he's starting here in the opening season game.
I can't guess to what that is, but I didn't see him blow too many or blow coverage, really. So.
I didn't even see Exum in the game, and then he was asked about that in his press conference, and he goes, Exum will get in the game if he knows what the hell's going on.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently, and to be honest, I didn't see Sendejo blow a lot of plays. I think he
did blow a missed tackle early in the game that Reggie Bush went for almost a first down. One of the only plays Reggie Bush got to make before he F something up in his ankle again.
Right. Yeah, of course, yeah. But, aside from almost giving up a first down, and that's not even like getting blown deep. So, you blow coverage deep and let somebody... I didn't see Sendejo give up any of those, so I guess I'm not too worried about it. Of course, come up and run support. Again, with the way our linebackers are playing, how much can you expect the safeties to do?
Don't start Greenway next week. I'm going to be absolutely pissed. Don't do it, man.
Well,
Hodges... I seen one play where Greenway's on the right side over the left tackle,
Right.
Hodges in the middle linebacker spot.
Right.
And Greenway, I don't know what the hell he saw, but he ran right up the gut by the center there.
If he's
totally stuffed.
If he's
completely out of the play, and here comes Hyde right where he should have been.
If Greenway's running up the gut,
Hodges make the tackle after a first down was made.
If Greenway's running up the gut, that's a scripted blitz. Linebackers will never run up the gut unless there's a blitz like that. No, they'll wait. They'll wait for it to develop.
Then you would have seen Hodges kind of roll out to the right a little bit. Hodges stayed home.
What that was the defensive line getting beaten up to stuff Greenway. I'm not defending. I'm not saying Greenway was like the expert. Him and Hodges.
So many plays like that where he just put himself out of position so early in a play.
Greenway and Hodges both did that a lot. They over pursued. They were out of position a lot of the game. Right.
Both of them.
Yeah,
for sure.
You're never going to see a lineman rush the line unless there is a scripted blitz.
Barr was a highlight of the linebacker core, that's for sure.
And that
was tried putting Kendricks in a little bit.
Right. It was a small highlight too. Kendricks was even over pursuing a little bit, but I don't know what to chalk it up to. Let's just hope next week it's better. And speaking of next week, week 2, the Vikings versus the Detroit Lions. I had 2 big points to look at in this game. Stafford suffering the injury to his throwing arm, which he says will be better by Sunday, which we will see, but hopefully, I hate to say hopefully it'll be a deterrent, but hopefully it'll be a deterrent. Also, the Lions only turned in 69 rushing yards with Abdullah, being as explosive as he is, and I guess a third point, Megatron only had 2 catches on 4 targets, so he's only targeted 4 times for 39 yards in last week's game. So what's your views on that?
Well, I definitely see them trying to bring Calvin Johnson back in the game a little bit more. He is pretty much the best wide receiver in the league and been that for years now.
Right, yeah.
But for some reason, our secondary, we step up and we play pretty damn good defense against Calvin. We hold him down pretty good. They're still going to try and give it to him, but they got Golden Tate out there last year. He was a surprise out there in Detroit. I guarantee you Seattle's kicking themselves in the ass for letting him go. Yeah, now hitting his stride as a player. He is a little bit undersized. Maybe that's why they feel that he wasn't valuable enough for them. And a little bit under 6 foot, 200 pounds, something around there. But I mean, look at Patterson. He's 6'2", 215 pounds. He ain't valuable to us because he don't know what he's running. Right. That's the complete opposite with Tate.
Okay.
He fits in really well with this offense, and he goes good with Calvin Johnson. Now they got 2 tight ends, pretty good. Pettigrew has been a disappointment.
He has been.
See
yes.
Ebron here, he can step up to the first round pick to the Lions of last year's draft.
Yep.
One thing I definitely want to point out is I'm pretty jealous of the Detroit Lions offensive line compared to ours.
I would be too. Yeah.
Like Riley Reef and Matt Khalil, I believe they came out in the same draft.
They did.
Right now, I would give them a push. I don't really see too much better from any player. They got a rookie playing left guard in Tomlinson out of Duke.
Right.
Pretty high already on them. A good road grader coming out of there. They're looking at pounding the rock along with the good passing attack that they already have. Then they had Warford out of Kentucky here now. Still playing right guard. Another road grader down there.
Right.
So we got another tough battle against it. It is a home opener for us.
It is.
So we're at TCF. We'll have the home crowd. Hopefully we get that home field advantage because we're going to need it this week. This is almost a trap game. People are saying, oh, we got Detroit beat.
No.
I tell you what, this isn't going to be an easy game. Detroit, with Caldwell now coaching, they're pretty damn good.
They are.
And they're coaching and everything going into the game except for what you saw last week, which looked like the typical Detroit Lions. But I'm not going to count on that happen 2 weeks in a row, but I'm not going to count on happen with what happened to the Vikings 2 weeks in a row either.
Right, yep. Well, I see what happened last week with the Lions as being more of a Staffordism because that's kind of been his MO. But I see our biggest threat, what you said, Zach Ebron. He's going to be a big threat. But Golden Tate will be the biggest challenge for our defense because we've already shown that we
100% on that one. Who's going to cover him?
Exactly. We've already shown we can put Rhodes on somebody, and he will do yeoman's work trying to cover whoever it is. And he did
Rhodes
that with.
Is going to be on Johnson.
Yes.
Who's going to cover Tate?
Exactly.
Newman, 37-year-old Newman. Golden Tate is shiftiness.
Yep.
Newman ain't going to be able to do that.
Again, we come back to the
Trey Waynes.
Right. It comes back again to age and treachery versus youth and enthusiasm, and we got to hope that Newman has enough treachery left to make a go of it. I mean, that's really all we can hope for as far as that matchup's concerned. I'm more concerned about Zach Ebron versus our linebackers because Pettigrew.
Eric
Ebron. Sorry. Yeah, Eric Ebron. I'm more concerned with him versus our linebackers because. My bad. Pettigrew, he can get open, but that guy, I don't know. It's a 50-50 chance if you put the balls in his hands. He drops a lot. But Ebron is solid, and our linebackers with their pursuit tendencies and who they got covering him, if they can match the speed.
Don't be starting Greenway. That's a matchup nightmare right there with Ebron and Pettigrew. Pettigrew is a good, tall guy. Even if you do have Kendricks in there, you're still going to have that height disadvantage.
The height advantage.
But I'd rather have that little height disadvantage than having a guy that cannot even keep up with him. I mean, Greenway is just looking out of place right now. And it sucks, man, because he was one hell of a player for the Vikings for so many years, but his time is obviously coming to an end.
Well, I mean...
Even last year we seen it.
It's kind of if you talk about a Greenway versus Ebron, it's kind of like talking about Newman versus Golden Tate. I mean, you've got a guy who's got the experience. He knows where it's going to go, and really, you don't see a lot of flexibility and weird variability in tight end routes. And I hope no Detroit people listen to this before the game and plan against that. But the tight end routes are pretty tame compared to what you'd see from wide receiver cross routes and all that other stuff they do. So, you hope that a guy like Greenway, when he's starting, if he's starting, he would know where to be when. He would recognize the formation and get there and get it taken care of before it becomes a problem. Just like with Newman and Tate, you would hope that would be the case because they may be a little long in the tooth to be keeping up with these young whippersnappers. But... Regardless, I think what the game is going to come down to, and I really do, I think it's going to be like last week for Detroit. I think the defensive side of the ball is not going to be as important as the offensive side of the ball because Detroit's defense is effectively unchanged minus 2 or 3 cheap shots by Ndamukong Suh, right? Because they got Haloli Nati in there right now. Is that his name? How do you pronounce it?
Halote.
Yes. Nata. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I said naughty. Well,
Well,
when you say
Sue.
naughty, nada, it's when you say anything after Suh, it's probably going to be naughty.
You're not going to get through here.
Right. Not exactly. What it comes down to, I think, is our line, our O-line and our D-line have to step up because of our
trenches, man. The battle starts in the trenches.
And this game
if you don't win there, it's not looking good.
Dude, the first time Abdullah breaks off 20, that means our defensive line is lost. The first time Peterson gets, or I shouldn't say the first time because sometimes it takes 3 or 4 times. The fourth time Peterson gets stuffed for a -1, the battle on the O-line is lost. It's the trenches, and I think it comes down to it there because the rest of those matchups, youth and enthusiasm versus age and treachery, it comes down to the trenches. Will our lines recover? Will they find their badass stickers and put them on their helmets and say, okay, we're gonna dominate these guys. We're not gonna get pushed around like last game, because that's what it comes down to, really. When you got a guy, when San Francisco runs 230 on you, the defensive line has been challenged. They've been called out. And when the O-line generates 31 yards for the greatest rusher of our generation, you've been called out. I mean, it's time to, nut up or shut up and put it out there. And I think that's where the game's going to be decided.
Yeah, I mean, the middle of the defensive line obviously is different. No Fairley and Sue.
Right.
Jones is on the left. And Zeke Ansah, though, on the right side now, he's a real deal, man. Khalil's got his
work
tough game ahead of him on that part.
He does. And
I don't really know much about their Walker for defensive tackle, but obviously we know about Nada. But a mammoth of a guy. He is older in the age in his career.
Right.
But he's going to fit in good right now. Give him a little gap for a couple of years, especially at that nose tackle spot that he's playing.
Right.
They got
pretty much
Van Noy playing outside linebacker. They got some decent linebackers, but actually their secondary is probably their strongest suit. But you wouldn't have thought that after the Chargers did what they did in the second half against them.
When Rivers ties 404 on you, there's something gone wrong.
I hope. Well, obviously the Vikings are going to be watching that game tape over and over again, and obviously the Lions are going to be watching the San Francisco game over and over again.
Right. Yep. We're going to see.
One thing I know that Everson Griffin says, he came out and admitted, he said he played a shit game.
Well, he
guaranteed a victory this week against the Lions.
I'm so tired of hearing guaranteed victories, but in this case,
guarantee a victory.
Yeah, exactly. Ever since Joe, it's become de rigueur, and you know what though, I this time I will say in the battle of rebound versus rebound, because both teams are on a big rebound right now. Right?
0-2. One of them's going to be 0-2 in the division already.
Yeah, and that's that. Yeah, you don't want that.
Not good, man.
No, not good at all. But I think in the battle of rebounds, it's tough. But I'm going to give the edge to the Vikes on this one not because anything we saw last week. What we saw last week, I think, was an aberration, because what we saw the season before with, I don't know what, like one original player on the line and the quarterback with one leg and receivers all had no hands and shit. Whatever that craziness was we went through with all the injuries and bad luck we had last year, and we still came out doing what we did and managed to accomplish what we did and played with that kind of heart. I think the team's heart is that, and I think that we pull a squeaker out this one. I'm going to guess the score is going to be I'm going to say 18-16. It's a weird score, but I think it's going to come out, well, no, not 16. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go 18-14. I think that's the score. It's a weird score, but I think it's going to go that way. It's going to be like, there's going to be a 2-point with Walsh things, and then there's going to be a field goal involved, and yeah.
Like, fans aren't going to be happy with me.
Okay, you're going to predict the Lions, I'm guessing.
Yeah, maybe it's a good thing, because maybe I jinxed him last week, so maybe I'll jinx him this week.
Well, you know what? If the jinx is in, if you got the jinx going, jinx away, man. Vote all you want.
One thing I think about this game, we're not going to run the ball. We're not going to get that push because Nada's going to be right over Berger.
Right.
And Harris.
Right.
He's not going to run to the right side. Clemens is still in his second game as a pro, just kind of got thrown into it.
They're going to
Khalil's going to be playing against Nziki Ansah, which is coming in to his own self right now.
Right.
The secondary
they're going to
matches up all right. If this game is won by the Vikings, it's by Teddy Bridgewater.
You know what?
100%. That's what I'm going by.
You know what?
If they do pull it off, it's by Teddy. No way I don't see Adrian over 60 yards again.
You know, and that's where I have to depart from you there, and that's why I think the Vikings will pull it out because, well, it all depends on the coaching, right? If we see them lining up with those shotgun runs again, yeah, I agree with you. We're going to lose.
Dude, if we see them lining up with Greenway in the starting lineup.
You know what? Again, the Greenway versus Newman versus youth versus experience thing, I get that, right? Because, okay, you got Berger matching one-on-one with Nada, right? And Harris doing the support on the right side. So, yeah, right side is kind of off for inside runs. Left side is going to always be a gap blitz. I mean, that's the pattern that San Francisco showed. Here's how you get to their quarterback. They're going to have to eventually say, all right, we need to run traps and counters and give Adrian the ball from the backfield and not from the shotgun. And that's where I think this game's going to come down to our running game versus theirs. I think our secondary matches with theirs very well. I think their secondary matches with ours very well, with our receivers very well. And I think Peterson coming off the edges instead of just going in the 2 or 4 gap, I think is going to be, or the 1 or 3 gap, I think Peterson's going to be that difference. If they run him off tackle on either side and avoid that A gap blitz, that can make all the difference in the world. Because our tackles...
You're going to have to go to the right side.
Well, Clemmings or Khalil, both of our tackles are really the guys who are doing the best for us on the line, which is scary, but they're going to A-gap blitz Fusco every damn down they can. And he's going to miss some of them because you can't cover everything. But if you run it off of Khalil, you run it off of Clemmings, and they actually seal their side of the line, you give Peterson 5 yards, he's going to take 50 on you. That's just how he is. So I think it's going to come down to Abdullah versus Peterson. I think that's what the actual story of the game is going to end up being. And I think Peterson is actually going to have the advantage here because I bet he's pissed as hell about last week as well. And I'm not just being a Peterson homer. Everybody knows who's read, my posts and all that stuff. Everybody knows I was as down on Peterson as anybody. But I think that this is his game where he says, all right, I've had enough of this press. I need to generate my own shit and put the team on his back for a game until everything gels.
I got 17-13 Detroit.
17-13, and I got 18. What is it? 18 to? Did I say 18 to 14?
16.
18 to 16. Yeah, it was a weird score, but I think it's going to come something like that. It's going to be like a 2-point difference.
I don't see them getting a big enough push in the run game against this defensive line. Mm-hmm. Teddy's the only key to this game, and for a while there, Brett Favre when he first came, it was a complete kind of opposite. Peterson kind of helped the team out until Favre got caught up. I think it's going to be the opposite. Teddy's going to kind of have to carry the team until Peterson and the running game get going.
And that's, I guess I'm opposite because I think Peterson and Abdullah are the keys to their respective teams. Wow.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Yeah. If Peterson can run the ball, this game is totally different, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't have enough confidence in our offensive line right now.
Well, I get you. That's why they have to run them off tackle. And whereas Stafford and Bridgewater are kind of at equivalent points in their career where they need a running game to solidify their passing game, the only difference being Teddy's in year 2 and Stafford's in like year 904. So,
he's got plenty of good years already now. He's got that good experience.
Right. We got plenty of time for Teddy to develop, where Stafford is kind of pretty much where he's going to be at for the rest of his career. So, I mean, there's the big upside on Teddy there, is he's already at Stafford level, but just, developing still. And
I just had one last point I wanted to make, and kind of a question here.
All right.
Why in the hell is Asiata not playing fullback for us? That would be some cool looking runs.
Asiata, you know what? Asiata, I think, would be a great fullback option at this point, because you can actually hand the ball off to your fullback at that. He'd be like Mike Allstott.
Or pass catching even.
He'd be a Mike Allstott fullback. I think he's got the blocking ability to be a fullback. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he doesn't push people hard enough off the line. I'm not sure. That's why they use Rhett as their fullback. But, yeah, I'm kind of missing Felton at this point.
I'm going to try and get a guest on the show for next week. Let's see what we can get for next week's show going.
A guest? Do tell.
I think this is going to kind of wrap it up for this week.
I think it is. Do we have a teaser for our guest next week?
He's kind of writes for everyone out there, and I'm sure if you're on Twitter and you follow a lot of blog writers out there, you're probably following them out there.
All right. Well, we'll let people do the scavenger hunt for him then. But yes, it does kind of wrap it up for this week. So, we've gone over again, haven't we? We really, we just can't shut up.
We try to crunch it down. We tried our best, and we failed.
But it's football,
just like the Vikings did in week 1.
Oh, there we go.
Damn it.
I'll use that as our
very
excuse.
Contagious.
Yeah. Oh, we love our ball, man. That's what it comes down to. We love our ball. We love our team. And so from those of us at Horns Up here, the Lock Star, Al Hirung, and Jason.
The Beast.
Barham. Yes, we'll see if it would be our week 3, but week 2 of the NFL, Horns Up week 3. Yeah, we're still getting that numbering system down.
We'll get there, man.
We'll get there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week. Have a good one and enjoy your football. Horns up.
Thanks for listening.